There is a sacred truth that too many forget when they are in pain, in waiting, or in silence. God is not done. What you're walking through today is not a sign of an ending. It is a signal, a sacred whisper, that the greatest part of your story has yet to unfold. Life may look still, the world around you may seem quiet, but in the invisible everything is shifting. There are unseen hands working on your behalf. What you call delay is only preparation. Let me tell you something that may shock you. You are not waiting on God. God is waiting on you. Waiting on you to believe again, to imagine again, to speak life over yourself even when everything feels lifeless. The greatest miracles do not come when you beg. They come when you believe. Not halfway, not conditionally, but completely, as though what you asked for is already here. You say, I've been broken, but have you forgotten? Every breakdown is the seed of your breakthrough. You say, I feel lost, yet you are never lost in the eyes of the divine. You are simply being rerouted to a higher outcome. There is something extraordinary waiting on the other side of your persistence. But it cannot come through struggle, it comes through alignment. Stop speaking the language of limitation. Start speaking from the end. Say to yourself, this chapter is not the end. This pain is not the whole story. Something sacred is coming. Something unstoppable is being written in my name. The best part of your story is not in your past. It is not in what you lost. It is not in what was taken. It is in what you are about to receive. And what you are about to receive will not make sense to the version of you that almost gave up. That version must die, so the real you can rise. The version who begs must become the version who embodies. The version who doubts must become the version who declares. The version who fears must become the version who knows. Because when you know, truly know, that the best is next, you stop chasing and start claiming. Walk as if the door is already open. Speak as if the promise is already fulfilled. Rest as if you've already arrived. And you will find that God never forgot you. He was simply preparing a scene so good, so divine, so unmistakably perfect that only the future you would be ready for it. So let this be your declaration. God's not done with me. My story is still unfolding. And the next part, the part I'm stepping into, will be the best I've ever lived. Because you are not falling apart. You are being put together for something higher. And the best part, you don't even have to chase it. You just have to become it. God's not done. The next chapter will prove why the wait was worth it. Do not judge your life by what you see today. The visible world, this tangible realm, is not the full truth. It is simply a mirror, reflecting old beliefs, former assumptions, and previous inner conversations. What you see now is not a prophecy, it is history. It is the echo of your former state of mind, a shadow of what you once believed to be true. And so, if your current reality appears dark, stagnant, or full of lack, do not panic. Do not mourn what is showing up now. Because this is not the conclusion, this is not the ending of your story, it is merely a transitional scene between who you were and who you are becoming. You must understand, life flows from within out. Circumstances arise out of consciousness. When you believed in lack, lack appeared. When you felt abandoned, abandonment showed up. But that was then. And now, you have chosen differently. You are beginning to assume the state of fulfillment. You are starting to walk in the awareness of abundance, wholeness, and purpose. And as surely as day follows night, what you have assumed within must now appear without. But here's the part most overlooked. There is always a delay between planting and harvest. There is a secret space between assumption and appearance. That delay is not denial, it is divine orchestration. It is the universe reassembling itself to reflect your new state of being. So if things still look the same, be still. Stay grounded. Hold your new assumption with faith and persistence. Because what's unfolding right now is not the final act. It's the middle scene. A bridge of events that will lead you from what was to what you have accepted as already yours. Do not make the mistake of judging the journey before the promise is delivered. A construction site always looks chaotic before the masterpiece is revealed. And so does life when transformation is underway. Hold fast, speak from the end, imagine from the outcome, live as if it's done. Because your current circumstance is not your conclusion, it is not your label, it is not your truth. It is only the temporary residue of the past. And once you stop reacting to it and start living from your new assumption, everything will change quietly, powerfully, completely. Creation does not begin with effort, it begins with imagination. Pure, bold, unquestioning vision. Long before anything materializes in the world of form, it is born in the unseen. The real beginning of all things is not in action, but in the invisible world of thought and belief. That is the realm where all power rests. Imagination is not daydreaming. It is the divine blueprint, the invisible seed from which your future grows. When you dare to imagine something greater, something beyond your current reality, you are not escaping life, you are rewriting it. You are stepping into the spiritual workshop where all things are crafted before they become visible. The moment you believe in the unseen, truly believe, not with words but with feeling, the universe responds. It begins to rearrange circumstances, shift relationships, open doors, close others, and guide events in ways your physical senses cannot yet comprehend. You do not need to push, chase, or strive. You only need to see, not with your eyes, but with your inner vision, the eye of faith. God does not respond to desperation, He responds to alignment. Faith is the evidence of things not seen, and imagination is how that evidence is formed. The world around you bends not to effort, but to assumption. The secret is not in doing more, it's in assuming more boldly. When you dwell in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, when you close your eyes and live from the end, something miraculous happens. What you see in the spirit begins to take shape in the world. The external world, being only a shadow, must conform to the light within. It has no choice. God's next move is not waiting for your work. It's waiting for your belief. He moves where your faith leads. And faith is simply sustained imagination, dwelling so deeply in your vision that it becomes more real to you than what your senses report. If you want to know what is coming next in your life, look to your imagination. That is the preview of your next chapter. Guard it, feed it, honor it. Because what you imagine with conviction, you invite with power. What you believe in the silence, God brings into the light. You are not waiting on God. God is waiting on you. We often speak of divine timing as if it were some distant clock slowly ticking toward our breakthrough. But divine timing is not measured in hours or days, it is measured in alignment. The moment your inner state matches the reality you desire, things move quickly, naturally, powerfully. You see, the delay you perceive is not in God's hands. It is in your own heart. God has already said yes to the version of you that is whole, abundant, healed, and fulfilled. But if you continue to identify as broken, lacking, or unworthy, you remain out of sync with what has already been prepared. Life doesn't bring you what you beg for. It brings you what you believe yourself to be. When you shift your self-concept, everything shifts. You are not waiting for a new reality to appear. You are waiting to become the person who lives in it. That transformation does not take time. It takes decision. It takes the courage to let go of the old story and embody the new one fully, without apology or hesitation. God responds to movement, not outer movement, but inner conviction. When you dare to feel the truth of your desire as if it were already fulfilled, you step into alignment. And in that state, doors open, paths appear, and what you once called coincidence becomes divine choreography. This is why you must stop looking to the sky for a sign and start looking within. The answer isn't coming, it's already here, but you must be in the state to receive it. Waiting is a posture of passivity. Alignment is a posture of power. When you walk in the knowing that it is done, the world rearranges itself to reflect that knowing. Do not ask, when will it happen? Ask instead, am I being the version of me who already has it? Because when you answer yes to that question, not with words, but with identity, you move into harmony with divine timing. And then suddenly everything accelerates. So remember this. You're not behind. You're not late. You're not forgotten. You're simply being invited to become, and the moment you do, the next and best part of your story begins to unfold, effortlessly, gracefully, and right on time. The best part of your life isn't waiting for you in some distant future. It already exists. Right now, in the invisible realm of consciousness, everything you desire has already been created. You are not manifesting something brand new. You are choosing from what already is. The moment you grasp this, life changes. Because you realize you're not building your future with effort, you're aligning with it through belief. There is only one moment now, and within this eternal now, every version of your life exists. The life where you're whole, abundant, deeply loved, successful. It is not a fantasy or a wish. It is a reality, already formed, simply awaiting your recognition. You do not create it by striving. You bring it into your experience by selecting it through your state of being. What you call the future is simply the unfolding of the state you are dwelling in today. If you continue to live from lack, worry, or doubt, you remain aligned with a version of reality that reflects those states. But when you dare to assume that it's already done, that what you desire is already yours, you shift timelines. You move into alignment with a version of life where it has already happened. This is why faith is so powerful, not because it changes God's mind, but because it changes your position. It places you in harmony with what has always been available to you. You begin to see what you previously could not, simply because you believe it's there. And the moment you live as though it were true, the invisible becomes visible. You don't need proof to begin, you need conviction. Because the world doesn't show you what's real, it shows you what you've accepted as real. The outer world is always catching up to your inner world. So if you want to see a different outcome, start by choosing a different assumption. Walk, talk, and feel as if the best part of your story has already unfolded. Let go of the waiting. Let go of the hoping. Step into knowing. Because your future is not coming from the outside. It is already alive in the unseen, and it will rush into form the moment you agree with it in spirit. The best part of your life is already here, and it's yours the moment you dare to live from it. Every breakdown you've experienced wasn't the end. It was the beginning. What felt like collapse was actually construction in disguise. When the walls fell, when the doors closed, when people left, it wasn't destruction, it was alignment. Life was removing what no longer fit. Where you going? And though you may have called it loss, heaven called it preparation. Nothing is ever truly lost. The job you didn't get, the relationship that ended, the opportunity that slipped away, none of it was meant to break you. It was meant to break open the parts of you still clinging to the lesser when the greater was already written. God never subtracts without the intention to multiply. He never removes without the plan to replace with something more suited, more divine, more expansive. You see, the mind grieves what it can no longer see, but the spirit rejoices in what it knows is coming. When something leaves your life, instead of mourning it as the end, recognize it as a sacred clearing. Just as a farmer must till the ground and remove the weeds before planting fresh seed, so too must your life be cleared of old energies, attachments, and patterns that cannot carry the weight of your next blessing. Evil breakdown was a setup for breakthrough, not by accident but by divine orchestration. The moments that hurt the most often held the greatest lessons and the deepest transformation. You weren't being punished, you were being positioned. Life was rearranging itself to make room for the version of you that's been waiting to emerge. So trust the tearing down, trust the release. Trust the silence, the space, the unanswered prayers. They are not signs of abandonment, but signs of deeper preparation. The blessing that's meant for you is too big to fit in the old container. The new wine must be poured into new wineskins. The new life must rest upon a new foundation. You didn't lose. You were lifted. You weren't left behind, you were led forward. And what's ahead of you is not compensation, it's elevation. What's coming next will not only heal what broke you, but show you why it had to happen. So hold your head high. The breakdown was not your defeat. It was the prelude to your divine breakthrough. You are not just playing a role in your life, you are writing the script with every thought you accept, every word you speak, and every emotion you dwell in. Life is not happening to you, it is happening through you. And while others may appear on your stage, no one else is holding the pen. You are both the author and the actor, creating the scenes that unfold before you. If you don't like the way the story is going, don't wait for someone to change the plot. Change the narrator within. It's your inner dialogue, the words you repeat to yourself in silence, that determines the direction of your life. Every belief you hold becomes a line in your script. Every assumption you make becomes a scene played out in time. Too many people try to change their life without changing the story they're telling themselves. They chase new results while carrying the same old narrative. But it doesn't work that way. You cannot live a victorious life with a defeated mindset. You cannot step into a better chapter if you're still reciting lines from your past. The moment you begin to say the best is next with conviction, not as a wish but as a fact, you start turning the page. You start creating new chapters where possibility replaces limitation, where faith replaces fear, and where clarity replaces confusion. Your words are not just expressions, they are instructions to the universe, to your subconscious, and to the unseen forces that shape your world. Every great transformation begins with a change in dialogue. Speak differently, think differently, feel differently. Because when you assume the role of someone whose best days are ahead, you activate the script that matches that state. You become the person who naturally attracts experiences that align with a better story. You are not a victim of the narrative, you are the one telling it. And just like any great author, you have the power to revise, reframe, and rewrite at any moment. The old chapter may be filled with pain, but it does not define the ending. The pen is still in your hand. So write boldly, act courageously, and never forget, you are the story, the storyteller, and the stage upon which the next miracle will unfold. So, if life feels uncertain, if the road seems unclear, remember this: God is not done. What you see today is not the end, it's the unfolding. Your current reality is not your final destination. It is only a reflection of yesterday's thoughts. But today you have the power to choose again, to imagine again. You are not waiting on permission, on timing, or on people. You are aligning with the truth that the best part of your story is not behind you, it's ahead of you, already existing in the invisible, waiting for you to become the version of yourself that receives it. Hold your vision, speak your new script, trust your unseen future, and walk in the quiet, unshakable knowing that every breakdown, every delay, and every detour was preparing you for what's next. Because what's next is better than what's been. Your best is not coming. Your best is here, because now you are ready for it. Thank you for listening. Keep believing, keep becoming, and never forget, the best part of your story is next. My friend, the moment before the greatest blessing is not peaceful, it is disruptive. You are not being abandoned, you are being awakened. God does not whisper his intentions through comfort. He roars through change. When something big is coming to you, the first thing you notice is that the world you once trusted begins to collapse, not to destroy you, but to reveal you. The structure that no longer serves your higher purpose will begin to break. That job that kept you secure, gone. That relationship you clung to for identity, cracked open. And you may cry, why is this happening? But hear this, it is happening for you. And then comes the unrest, the invisible stirring in the soul. You can no longer pretend to be small. You hunger for something greater. You walk through familiar doors and suddenly they feel foreign. This is the inner call, a sign that your spirit is being stretched to fit the gift that's on its way. Pay attention to the signs. The world begins to speak in symbols. You look at the clock, 11:11. You think of someone and they appear. You read a word and it unlocks an answer. This is not magic. This is the evidence that your inner world is being mirrored in the outer. The path becomes lonely. Not everyone can walk with you into the new. You will feel the silence. But don't run from it. That silence is sacred. In that silence, the soul communes with the unseen. In that quiet, imagination takes root. In the absence of noise, creation begins. You will be tested. Doubt will visit. Old temptations will resurface. The voice of fear will ask, are you sure you're ready? And you must answer not with words, but with vision. See yourself already in possession. Feel the joy before it arrives. This is the test, and passing it means seeing the unseen as already done. And then, just when you think nothing is happening, you'll feel it. A calm that defies logic, a certainty without proof. That, my dear friend, is the final sign. It means the blessing is no longer on its way, it is already here, waiting for your inner agreement. Do not ask when. Ask only, can I feel it now? Because when you feel it, you have it. And when you have it in consciousness, the outer must follow. This is how the great unfoldings of life occur. Not by force, not by chance, but by the quiet, deliberate knowing that what is yours is already forming in the unseen and coming to you right on time. Prepare your heart. The signs are not random. The gift is near. What once felt so certain, so unshakable, now begins to tremble beneath your feet. The familiar starts to dissolve. People who were once constant in your life may begin to distance themselves or disappear entirely. That job that gave you identity, that relationship that felt like home, those routines that gave you a sense of control, all begin to break down without warning. It may feel like loss, but it is divine alignment. This is not punishment. This is preparation. It is the unmaking of what no longer serves your highest expression. The crumbling is sacred. You may try to hold on, to fix it, to return to the old rhythm, but it will not be the same. Why? Because you have outgrown it. Your spirit is no longer satisfied with what once sustained you. You are being expanded, and the old container cannot hold who you are becoming. It may feel uncomfortable. It may even feel like betrayal. You may find yourself asking, why is everything falling apart? But in truth, nothing is falling apart. It is falling into place. What you call stability may have only been stagnation. What you call love may have been attachment. What you call routine may have been a ritual of survival, not fulfillment. And so, life begins to shake it loose. The walls come down. The false identities peel away. You are being stripped, not to punish you, but to reveal the truth of who you are. You see, when something bigger is meant for you, the old way must move. The universe is not cruel, it is exact. If it allows the old to stay, it delays the new from arriving. You must let go to receive. And often we will not let go willingly, so life does it for us. Not out of malice, but out of mercy. This is a divine disruption, a holy dismantling. And while you may grieve what you lost, understand this: nothing real is ever lost. What is eternal in you remains untouched. Only illusions break. Only the temporary fades. And as those things crumble, they make space. Space for clarity, space for truth, space for expansion. You are not being abandoned. You are being upgraded. The discomfort is proof that transformation is in motion. You are being prepared for a greater reality, one that aligns with your truest self. But to live in that new world, you must first allow the old one to fall away. Do not fear the crumbling. Celebrate it. It means the time has come. It means the dream is near. It means you are being called higher. And though you walk through the valley of confusion, know that the mountaintop awaits. You are not being punished. You are being positioned. You are not losing security. You are discovering freedom. Let it fall. Let it burn. Let it go. Because what's coming is so much bigger, so much brighter, and so perfectly yours that you will one day thank the collapse for clearing the way. You are not breaking down, you are breaking through. There comes a moment in your life when everything on the outside looks the same, but nothing on the inside feels right anymore. You wake up and go through the same motions, work, conversation, daily responsibilities, but underneath it all, something deep within begins to stir. It's subtle at first, like a quiet tapping on the door of your soul. But with each passing day, it grows louder, stronger, impossible to ignore. You feel an inner restlessness that words cannot explain. This restlessness is not anxiety, it is not fear, it is not confusion. It is something sacred, it is a divine discontent, a spiritual unease that signals growth. The truth is, you have outgrown who you used to be. You no longer fit into the small roles you once played. The environment around you hasn't changed, but you have. And the more you try to force yourself into the old mold, the more uncomfortable it becomes. You are no longer satisfied by what once fulfilled you. You crave something more, though you may not yet know what it is. That hunger is not a mistake, it is a call. Something greater is calling you forward, and your soul is responding. This is how the divine speaks, through longing, through discomfort, through a quiet but persistent inner knowing that you were made for more than this. You may try to silence it. You may distract yourself with noise, with tasks, with people. But no matter how busy you become, the feeling remains. It whispers to you in moments of stillness, reminding you that your current reality is not your final one. You are being prepared for a new season. And before that new chapter can begin, there must be awareness. The restlessness is the first sign. It breaks the illusion of comfort. It shakes you from spiritual sleep. It reminds you that you are not here merely to exist, but to expand, to live fully, to create boldly, to walk in the fullness of your purpose. But purpose will not emerge while you are numb to your own desire, so life nudges you. It makes you uncomfortable in places you once called home. You may look around and wonder why the things that once brought you joy now feel hollow. You may feel guilty for wanting change. But understand this, your longing is not rebellion, it is revelation. It is your soul's way of saying, I'm ready, ready to evolve, ready to rise, ready to receive what you once didn't believe you deserved. And though the path ahead may not yet be visible, trust that the feeling is enough. You don't need the whole map, you only need the courage to follow the pull. You were never meant to remain where you are. You were designed to grow, to rise, to be transformed. And the inner restlessness is your sacred invitation to begin. Embrace it. Let it move you. Let it break you out of the ordinary and carry you toward the extraordinary. Because that uneasy feeling inside, that is not the end. It is the very beginning of everything you've been asking for. Something begins to shift in your world. Not in a loud or dramatic way, but in a quiet, mystical unfolding. You start noticing things. Small patterns, repetitions, echoes in the ordinary. Numbers show up again and again. 1111 on the clock, 222 on receipts, 444 on license plates. Names, songs, or symbols repeat in ways too consistent to be dismissed. You might think, that's strange, but deep down, something in you knows it's not random. You are not imagining it. This is how the unseen speaks. These synchronicities are not coincidences. They are confirmations. They are gentle nudges from the deeper intelligence that governs all things. Life is showing you that you are on the path. You are beginning to align with your true self, and the universe is responding. When you see the same number over and over, or a phrase that echoes a thought you just had, it's not meant to entertain you. It's meant to awaken you. It's a signal, a sacred message wrapped in the ordinary. You begin to realize that reality is not separate from your mind. It is responding to it. You think of someone and they call. You feel something and it appears. You speak a desire and life starts to rearrange itself in quiet, strange ways. This is alignment. This is you moving into the current of something greater. You are no longer asleep. You are beginning to remember that this world is not just physical. It is spiritual, symbolic, intelligent. Nothing is truly accidental. These signs come not to convince you, but to remind you. They are whispers from the unseen that say you are on your way. Keep going. They appear when doubt tries to take over. They arrive when you're tempted to turn back. They are not the destination, but the mile markers. They let you know the invisible realm is listening, responding, guiding. You might find yourself smiling at these moments, not because they are big or dramatic, but because they are deeply personal. They speak in a language only your soul understands. They show up when you need reassurance, when you are being called to trust what cannot yet be seen. They are like breadcrumbs left by your higher self, placed in your path long before your conscious mind caught up. And the more you notice them, the more they appear, not because they suddenly increased, but because your awareness is shifted. You are no longer blind to the signs. You are tuned in. This is what it means to be in flow with divine timing. You begin to understand that the universe is not distant, not indifferent. It is precise, intimate, and always speaking. Do not ask others to validate your signs. They were not given to them. They were given to you. And even if no one else sees what you see, feel what you feel, you know in your spirit it is real. These signs are your compass. Let them guide you, reassure you, anchor you in the knowing that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. You are not alone. You are not lost. You are aligned. There comes a time in your journey when the noise fades and the room grows quiet. People you once spoke to every day stop calling. Invitations stop coming. Conversations feel shallow or vanish altogether. The warmth of familiar voices cools, and you're left in a silence that feels both empty and sacred. This is not abandonment, it is alignment. You are not being rejected, you are being redirected inward back to the source where all creation begins. The silence can feel like punishment. You may question yourself. Did I do something wrong? Why is everyone pulling away? But the truth is, you're not being pulled away from them, you're being pulled toward yourself. This is the divine quiet, the sacred pause before the emergence of something greater. It's in this stillness that your soul begins to speak clearly. In the noise of the world, you forget who you are. You perform, you respond, you shape yourself around others' expectations. But in the silence, you can no longer distract yourself. You are left with your own thoughts, your own presence, your own truth. And though it may feel lonely, it is in this very solitude that your real transformation begins. You begin to see what you truly value. You begin to notice the subtle whispers of your intuition. You begin to feel the stirrings of something being born within. This silence is not empty. It is full of intention. It is a womb of becoming. The absence of others is making room for the presence of something higher. When people drift away, when communication dries up, it is often because your vibration is rising, and those who are not aligned with your next chapter cannot follow you there. Not everyone is meant to come. Not every voice is meant to remain. The silence is not void, it is clarity. It is the pruning that precedes growth. Just as winter strips the trees bare to prepare for spring, your life is being stripped of noise, of distraction, of the unnecessary. The divine draws you into solitude not to isolate you in suffering, but to initiate you into your power. Because all true creation begins in the invisible, in the quiet, in the depths, where no one else can reach but you and God. This is where your new vision is conceived. This is where your next season is planted. And if you dare to stay with it, not to run, not to fill the silence with noise, but to truly sit in it, you will begin to see the beauty in this holy retreat. You are being brought back to center. You are being prepared to create from truth, not influence, from alignment, not approval, from the inner world, not the outer crowd. And one day, when the silence lifts and people reappear, new people, aligned people, you will look back and understand that the silence was never a punishment. It was protection. It was a pause in the noise so you could hear the voice that matters most. The one within, the one above. You are not alone, you are with the source. And that is where everything begins. As the promise draws near, something strange begins to happen. You find yourself tested, not just in small inconveniences, but in deep, emotional, spiritual trials that shake you to your core. Old temptations resurfaced, familiar patterns return. Thoughts you thought you had outgrown knock at the door of your mind. You begin to feel tired, weary, as if everything is trying to pull you backward, just as you are preparing to move forward. This is not a mistake. This is not punishment. This is the sacred testing ground of transformation. You are not being broken, you are being revealed. These tests come not to harm you, but to show you who you truly are now. They expose the residue of the old self, not to shame you, but so you can see it clearly and choose something higher. They come when you are closest to the threshold of something greater, because only what is aligned with that new level can enter. And so life presents you with a choice. The same patterns, the same attitudes, the same behaviors offered back to you one last time. Will you return to what once comforted you but now costs you? Or will you stand firm in the knowing that you are not that person anymore? The test is not about performance, it's about choice. And in every choice, you are declaring your readiness. You may feel pushed to the edge, doubt creeps in, fear whispers, your vision feels further away, not closer. But remember, the storm always comes before the clearing. When you feel the strongest pull to give up, it is often because your breakthrough is moments away. The test intensifies before the release. You are being refined by fire, not consumed by it. You are being stretched. You are being asked to trust what you cannot yet see, to believe even when nothing in your environment confirms the promise. That is the real test. Can you hold the vision in the dark? Can you speak the truth when your reality contradicts it? Can you walk by faith and not by sight? These are the moments that shape destiny, not the easy ones, but the ones that demand your soul to choose alignment over comfort. You may cry, you may feel weak, but even in that you are growing. Your awareness is expanding, your strength is deepening. You are no longer reacting from the old identity, you are responding from the new one. And that in itself is victory. You are not being tested because you are failing, you are being tested because you are ready. Ready to step into more. Ready to receive what you once thought you weren't worthy of. The test is sacred. It is the final proving ground before manifestation. And every time you say no to the old, you are saying yes to the new. Every time you choose stillness over chaos, patience over panic, truth over illusion, you rise. So do not curse the test, bless it. Welcome it as the sign that what you asked for is near. And know this, what's waiting for you on the other side is far greater than anything you are being asked to release. You are passing through the fire to emerge gold. Keep going. There comes a moment on the journey where everything outside you still appears the same. Nothing seems to have shifted, and yet something within you feels entirely different. You wake up. And instead of anxiety, there is calm. Instead of urgency, there is ease. You begin to carry yourself as though something beautiful has already happened, though no physical proof surrounds you. This is not delusion. This is divine certainty. You have touched the unseen and come back changed. This quiet knowing is not loud. It does not shout for attention. It whispers. It speaks in stillness. You can't explain it to others, not because you lack the words, but because it wasn't given to them, it was given to you. There is no evidence to offer, no logical reason to justify your peace, and yet you know. Deep in your being you know what you have asked for, what you have imagined, what you have prepared for. It is in this sacred space that faith matures. No longer are you hoping or pleading or pushing. You are resting. You are embodying. And this is the final stage before manifestation. Not because you've earned it, but because you've become it. You have tuned your inner world so precisely to the frequency of what you desire that its arrival is inevitable. You are no longer waiting, you are receiving. The world may still look unchanged. Bills might still be unpaid. The relationship may not yet have arrived. The opportunity may still be forming behind the curtain. But your heart knows what your eyes cannot yet see. The feeling is your evidence. The peace is your sign. The inner shift is the truest marker that the outer world must soon follow. At this point, there is no need to force or chase or prove. You have already accepted it as done. You have crossed the invisible line between desire and possession, not because you hold it in your hand, but because you hold it in your spirit. You walk differently. You speak differently. You move as one who already owns what others think you're still waiting for. This is the place where gratitude becomes second nature, not for what you are hoping to get, but for what you already know is yours. You don't thank from desperation. You thank from fulfillment. You don't look to signs to reassure you. You have become the sign. Your state is the sign. And that state is the seed of creation itself. People may not understand. They may question your calm, your confidence. But you're no longer looking to the world for confirmation. You have gone deeper. You have found it within. And that is where all true creation begins. This feeling, this deep sacred knowing, is not random. It is the final confirmation from the unseen. It is the echo of a prayer already answered. It is the vibration of alignment before the world catches up. Trust it, honor it, live from it. For what you feel now, you shall soon see, and when it arrives, it won't surprise you. You'll simply smile, because you knew all along. When something big is on its way into your life, the world within you begins to change before anything outside does. It may start with the crumbling of your old world, relationships, jobs, habits falling away, not to punish you, but to prepare you. You may feel restless, as if your soul no longer fits into the shape of your old life. Synchronicities begin to appear everywhere, reminding you that you are on the path, even when you cannot see the destination. You may be pulled into isolation, where the silence grows loud. And yet, this too is sacred. It is in the silence that you return to the source, the place from which all creation flows. The emotional and spiritual tests you face are not obstacles. They are doorways. They reveal your readiness. They call you to walk by faith, not by sight. And then, one day, without reason, you begin to feel it. The knowing, the peace, the certainty that what you asked for is already done. This is how the divine works, not by appearances, but by states of being. When you align within, the outer must eventually reflect it. So do not fear the signs. Do not resist the process. You are being shaped for something beyond what you can yet imagine. Thank you for allowing these words to meet you where you are. May you recognize the signs, trust the journey, and hold the knowing that what is yours cannot miss you. It is already on its way. Stay in faith. Stay. Sweeter thanks. Close your eyes for a moment and listen not with your ears but with your being. The world you see around you is not fixed. It is clay, and you are the potter. It molds itself to the image you hold within. You win not by force nor by struggle, but by focus, pure, unwavering, faithful focus. Where your attention goes, your world follows. If you continually entertain thoughts of lack, life will oblige you with more lack. If you dwell in the awareness of abundance, the gates of provision open. The great illusion is thinking the outer world moves first. It does not. The outer is the echo, the shadow, the delayed mirror of what you are steadily focused on within. Do not ask, when will it happen? That question belongs to the one who is focused on the absence. The moment you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you have already won. You have stepped into the scene where it is done, and that scene must play out. You do not have to manipulate people or beg the world. The world is yourself pushed out. When you change your focus, you change the script. If you focus on peace, peace becomes your companion. If you focus on love, love begins to seek you. If you focus on being chosen, life arranges itself so that you are chosen again and again. But you cannot serve two masters. You cannot say you believe and then entertain doubt. You cannot say you are healed and still cling to the symptoms. Choose this day whom you will serve, your fear or your faith. Withdraw your attention from what you do not wish to continue. Let it wither. Let it die by starvation. Then turn your gaze with conviction to the world you want. Water it with your attention. Nourish it with your imagination. Saturate it with your inner speech. And when doubt comes knocking, and it will, you do not open the door. You return to the state where the outcome is already true. You see, you don't attract what you want, you attract what you focus on with emotional certainty. And in that focus, in that single-pointed vision, you become magnetic. What you focus on, you win. Imagination is the foundation of reality. There is no outer world that exists independent of your inner world. Everything you see, touch, and experience was first imagined. Before a building stands, an architect envisions it. Before a book is written, a writer sees it play out in the theater of their mind. Your life is no different. It is not chance or luck or fate that has sculpted your experiences. It is your imagination, whether you have used it consciously or not. What you consistently focus on in your inner world becomes the form and substance of your outer world. The thoughts you entertain most, the scenes you replay, the inner conversations you carry throughout your day, they are not meaningless. They are seeds, and like any seed, they grow in time, producing fruit after their own kind. You do not plant a fig tree and expect oranges. Likewise, you do not plant thoughts of fear, lack, rejection, or unworthiness and harvest peace, abundance, love, and purpose. The law is just. It gives you exactly what you have accepted as true within. Most people do not realize they are using their imagination all the time. They believe they are reacting to life, when in truth they are creating it with every reaction. When you imagine the worst, expect the worst, dwell on the worst, you create a path for the worst to arrive. But when you begin to take control of your inner world, when you dare to imagine the best, even when the outer world suggests otherwise, you invoke a higher power. You awaken the creative force that reshapes circumstances to match your inner conviction. There is no power outside of you shaping your life arbitrarily. It is your sustained attention, your inner focus, that determines what materializes. You must learn to be deliberate with what you give life to in your mind. Every image, every word you speak inwardly, every feeling you accept without question. These are not idle things. They are acts of creation. Imagination is not some child's game or fleeting fantasy. It is the workshop of reality. The inner scene you rehearse repeatedly is the blueprint, and just as surely as the sun rises, what you accept and feel to be true within will express itself without. Life is not responding to what you want. It is responding to what you believe. And belief is nothing more than imagination sustained. So, if you wish to change your life, do not run around trying to fix everything on the outside. Do not chase results or people or circumstances. Instead, turn inward. Ask yourself, what am I consistently imagining to be true? What am I focusing on when I am alone? What scene do I replay when I think of my future? These are the answers that matter. If your inner world is chaotic, your outer world will mirror that chaos. But if your inner world is rich with clarity, peace, and confidence, the outer must follow. Begin today to imagine better. Hold in your mind the image of the life you wish to live. See it clearly. Feel it deeply. Return to it often. And without effort, your reality will begin to reshape itself in the likeness of your focus. That is the law. Feeling is the secret. Thought alone is not enough. It is the emotion behind the thought that gives it life, weight, and direction. You can say 1,000 affirmations, picture endless visions in your mind, but if they are not felt, if they are not soaked in conviction and belief, they are empty, powerless shells. The world does not respond to your words, it responds to the feeling your words carry. It is not enough to merely think of what you want. You must feel as though it is already yours. The emotion behind your focus is the fuel. Just as a fire needs heat to burn, your imagination needs feeling to create. Focus without emotion is like a car without gas. It may have structure, but it has no movement, no energy to bring you to your destination. When you combine focused thought with deep, sincere feeling, you create an inner reality so rich and alive that the outer world cannot help but conform to it. Neutral focus produces neutral results. Many people wonder why their affirmations do not work, why their visualizations yield no change. It is often because they are going through the motions. They speak the words, they see the scene, but they do not feel it. They say, "I am wealthy," while feeling uncertain. They imagine love while feeling lonely. In doing so, they give mixed signals to the creative power within. The subconscious is not moved by logic or repetition alone. It is moved by feeling. It responds to what you accept as true, emotionally and internally, whether that truth is empowering or limiting. But passionate, faithful focus produces transformation. When you feel something deeply, you impress it upon your inner self. The feeling of already being what you desire to be is the very key that unlocks the door. It is not the condition that brings the feeling. It is the feeling that brings the condition. The world mirrors back to you what you believe to be true in your heart, not what you merely hope for with your lips. This is why you must live in the end, not physically but emotionally. You must enter the state of the wish fulfilled and feel it real. When you close your eyes and imagine, do not do so as a spectator. Enter the scene, touch the objects, hear the sounds, breathe the air. Most importantly, feel the joy, the peace, the satisfaction, as if it were happening now. Let your entire body respond to the reality of it. That feeling is the signal. That is what sends the message to your deeper self that this is real, this is now, this is done. Nothing changes until you change your feeling. You cannot fake it with empty words or shallow thoughts. But the moment you change your inner vibration, when you feel abundant instead of desperate, loved instead of rejected, powerful instead of helpless, you shift your entire world. Feel your way into the life you desire. Become the person who already has it. Let that feeling guide your thoughts, your actions, and your assumptions. And in time, the outer world will catch up with the inner. The feeling you nurture and sustain becomes the reality you live. This is the secret that has always been hidden in plain sight. Feeling is the creative force, the true key, the doorway to all change. Guard it, master it, use it well. You cannot serve two masters. Within you lies the power to shape your world, but that power demands loyalty. It cannot operate in confusion or contradiction. To serve two masters is to try and walk two opposing paths at once, one toward faith and one toward fear, one toward fulfillment and one toward doubt. And when you divide your mind, you dilute your energy. The result is stagnation, frustration, and delay. Nothing moves because you are moving in two directions at the same time. Divided attention weakens your creative power. Your consciousness is not a casual observer. It is the cause of everything you experience. But it must be aimed. Just as light becomes a laser when focused, your inner power becomes transformational when concentrated. If your thoughts are scattered, your results will be scattered. If your focus shifts between desire and disbelief, your reality will reflect that indecision. Many try to affirm what they want while secretly fearing it won't happen. They imagine the best but rehearse the worst. They pray for abundance but expect delay, and in doing so they split their allegiance. One moment they dwell in possibility, and the next they drown in contradiction. The creative force within does not know which seed to grow, so it waits. It mirrors not your words but your dominant feeling, your true master. Focused consciousness is singular and unwavering. It does not negotiate with appearances. It does not plead with the world to change. Instead, it rests fully in the assumption that the desired state already exists. It refuses to be pulled back into the old story. It remains fixed, steady, immovable, regardless of what the outer world tries to say. This is not about blind denial. It is about spiritual discipline. When you choose to believe in your vision despite contrary evidence, you are not ignoring reality. You are creating a new one. You are declaring that your inner world is the cause and the outer world is merely the effect. And when you hold that inner vision with total faith, the outer must bend. It has no choice. You must decide what you serve. Will you serve your dream or your doubt? Will you serve what is possible or what is probable? Will you serve the voice that says it is already done or the one that says it's too late? You cannot serve both. You must choose one and then live as though that choice is final. This is why true manifestation requires inner clarity. You must know what you want and give your entire being to it. Your thoughts, your emotions, your assumptions. You must become one with the state you desire as though there were no other reality. That unity of focus is what draws unseen forces to work in your favor. It is what opens doors, changes minds, and bends circumstances. So the next time doubt creeps in, remember this: it is not the world that is uncertain. It is your attention that has wavered. Return to the vision. Anchor yourself in it. Speak to it. Feel it. Live in it. Make it your only master. Only then does your world align. Only then does your power rise. Only then do you realize the truth. Divided minds delay, but focused hearts create. Assume the state of the wish fulfilled. That is the key. Not hoping, not begging, not waiting, but assuming. To assume is to believe, to accept as true. To walk in the certainty that what you desire is already yours. This is not pretense or fantasy. It is the creative act of faith. And in this inner movement, reality begins to shape itself around your inner conviction. You are not waiting for the world to change. The world is responding to the change within you. To win, you must mentally live in the reality where you already possess the outcome. Your senses may tell you otherwise. The world may scream that nothing has changed. But if you accept that outer appearances are simply the echo of former thoughts, then you understand the truth. Change happens first within. The moment you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you have entered the new state, and everything else must conform to it. This is why you cannot dwell in lack while trying to manifest abundance. You cannot cling to loneliness and expect love to show up. You cannot identify as a struggler and hope for success. Your inner world must match the condition you desire. You must feel the reality of it so clearly that it becomes natural to you. That feeling, that assumption is the seed. And just as a seed planted in rich soil produces fruit after its kind, so does your assumption bring forth its manifestation. Many people ask, how long will it take? But the better question is, how long will you persist in the assumption? The outer world is slow to respond, not because the power is weak, but because the mind keeps wavering. One moment it accepts the new state, the next it falls back into the old. This back and forth delays the harvest. But once the assumption is fixed, once it becomes your dwelling place, not just a passing thought, the world begins to shift. You must feel from the end, not toward it. Do not imagine yourself wanting, imagine yourself having. Do not imagine the path, imagine the destination already reached. What do you feel? What do you see? What do you hear in that place where it is done? That feeling, saturated with confidence and peace, is the magnet. It draws the unseen into the seen. The assumption must be so alive within you that you no longer question it. You don't wonder if the sun will rise tomorrow, you expect it. You don't doubt your breath will come, you live as if it already has. That same certainty must be applied to your desire. It is done. You are it. There is nothing more to get, only more to realize. This is not arrogance. It is spiritual alignment. You are not forcing the world to obey you. You are aligning with the truth of who you are. You are a creative being, born not to react to life, but to direct it from within. And the only focus that bears fruit is the focus that is sustained by assumption, not doubt. So assume the state now. Enter into the joy, the gratitude, the peace of the one who already has. Let that be your secret dwelling. Let it color your words, your choices, your energy. And soon the world will reflect what you have dared to believe in silence. Your attention is your most sacred currency. More valuable than money, more powerful than action, your attention determines the shape of your world. Where your attention goes, your energy flows, and what you continually energize, you breathe into form. You are not merely a passive witness to life. You are a creative force, and the spotlight of your awareness is the tool by which you sculpt your reality. Nothing grows in your life unless you have in some way nourished it with attention. What you give your awareness to, you give life to. This is not symbolic, it is law. If you constantly observe lack, speak of it, feel it, and worry over it, you invite it deeper into your world. If you rehearse limitation in your mind, it becomes more real to you than opportunity ever could. This is how people unknowingly build cages around themselves, not with chains, but with focus. What you focus on expands, whether it is wanted or not. Your inner world responds to your dominant attention, not to your fleeting hopes. To master your life, you must become the guardian of your attention. You must notice where your mind habitually drifts and consciously guide it back to what you desire. Every thought is a seed, and your attention is the water. You cannot afford to water weeds and expect roses to grow. It is not enough to occasionally imagine the good. You must withdraw your life force from what you do not wish to experience. Withdraw from what you do not wish to see grow. Do not feed your fears with stories. Do not energize pain with repeated focus. This does not mean denial. It means discipline. It means choosing not to dwell in the states that do not serve your highest vision. It means you stop identifying with what drains you and begin aligning with what uplifts you. You must starve what you wish to vanish and feed only that which you want to flourish. There is great power in refusal. When you no longer engage with doubt, when you no longer participate in the mental theater of limitation, you take your energy back. You stop propping up the illusions that keep you small. And as your attention begins to orbit around possibility, peace, love, and abundance, those things take root and begin to manifest. This practice is not always easy. The world constantly shouts for your attention. News, opinions, fears, distractions. But you must ask yourself, what am I empowering with my focus? What future am I creating with the things I continually think about, talk about, and emotionally react to? That question is sacred. It determines the course of your life. Your attention is the builder of worlds. With it, you can construct a reality of beauty, purpose, and fulfillment, or one of doubt, struggle, and fear. But the power is always in your hands. Choose wisely. Let your focus reflect not the world you see, but the world you intend to create. You need not fight what you don't want. Just stop feeding it. Let it wither in your absence. Turn instead to your vision, your dream, your highest self. Keep your awareness there. Saturate your mind with it. Return to it again and again until it becomes the only truth you recognize. Your attention is sacred. Treat it as such. Persist regardless of the evidence. Do not be deceived by what your senses show you, for the physical world is not the source of your reality, it is merely the echo. Every circumstance, every event, every condition you see around you is the delayed shadow of a previous state of consciousness. It is not the cause, but the result. And to become a conscious creator, you must understand this timeless truth. The world bends not to your effort, but to your assumption. And assumptions take time to mature in form. It is tempting to look at your current situation and accept it as fact, to say this is just the way things are, and allow the evidence to dominate your belief. But doing so is to surrender your creative power to appearances. It is to forget that what is seen is temporary, and what is unseen, your inner conviction, is eternal. The outer world does not respond instantly because it follows the rhythm of gestation. Like a seed planted in the soil, your assumption must be nurtured through time, patience, and unwavering attention. Maintain focus. Do not plant the seed today and dig it up tomorrow to see if it's growing. Do not affirm your vision for a moment and then abandon it at the first sign of contradiction. Reality does not change because you wish it to. It changes when your inner state becomes immovable, when you persist in the unseen regardless of what is shown. The world will test you, not to punish you, but to see if you truly believe. Those who manifest are not those who never doubt. They are those who return again and again to the vision within. They feel from the end, not the middle. They see beyond appearances. When the bank account looks empty, they still assume abundance. When love feels distant, they still live from the feeling of being cherished. When the body feels weak, they embody vitality in their imagination. And slowly, surely, the world catches up to the inner truth. This is not about ignoring reality, but about choosing the reality you wish to embody. You are not a puppet of circumstance, you are the author of it. And persistence is the ink. You must write your story not once, but continually. Every time you imagine the wish fulfilled, you strengthen the bridge between the inner and the outer. Every time you hold fast to the desired state, even while reality remains unchanged, you deepen your alignment with the truth you have chosen. The mistake most make is reacting to appearances. They assume what they see is final, but nothing you see is final. It is old news. The current picture is a photograph of your past thoughts, your past emotions, your past focus. If you don't like it, change the film, change the frame, shift your attention and hold it. Be unmoved by delay, be loyal to the unseen. The world will bend, it must, it is law, but it will only bend when you refuse to bend. When you stand in your assumption with quiet certainty, the evidence will eventually align. Until then, persist, not with force, but with faith, not with struggle, but with stillness. That is the secret. The real world is the one you dwell in within. All else will follow. What you focus on, you win. This is the unshakable truth. Your inner world is not a passive playground. It is the architect of your life. Each thought, each feeling, each assumption is a blueprint. What you consistently dwell upon, you build. You are not subject to the outer world unless you give it your power. The law is simple and certain. Hold the vision, feel it real, and persist until it hardens into fact. Do not waver. Do not negotiate with appearances. The world bends to the focused and faithful. You are not here to chase or beg or wait. You are here to choose. Choose the state. Assume the end. Withdraw your attention from what you do not wish to see and pour your energy into what you love. Let your attention become sacred. Let your imagination become holy ground. If you can hold the state within, the world must reflect it without. This is the path of those who create deliberately, live consciously, and win silently. Thank you for walking this path of inner mastery. Thank you for choosing to see with the eyes of faith. Stay focused, stay still, and remember, it's already yours. There comes a moment when silence speaks louder than 1,000 desperate messages, a moment when your absence becomes your loudest presence. You do not need to call, you do not need to text, you need only to remember who you are. The one who once doubted their worth is gone. In their place stands someone who no longer seeks outside themselves for approval, for closure, for recognition. They walked away, not from you, but from the idea of you they failed to fully grasp. Let them go. Let them sit with the void your presence once filled. Because when you no longer chase, the universe must turn toward you. You must understand. Your reality reflects not what others think of you, but what you believe about yourself. If you assume you are the one who has left, you live that script. But if you assume you are the gift that was unrecognized, the treasure that was misplaced, then life will reflect that assumption in ways that astound you. And they will feel it. Not because you said anything, but because you said nothing. In the silence, your energy speaks. Your transformation becomes the thunder that shakes their soul. You do not need to remind them of your worth. Your worth is not up for discussion. It is a silent knowing, radiating through the very atmosphere. When you stop trying to prove, you start to create. When you withdraw your energy, it returns to you tenfold, charged with clarity and power. Do not be tempted to reach out for crumbs. You are the feast. You are the vision they once touched and couldn't hold. Let the distance do its work. Let your evolution humble them. Let your glow haunt the edges of their awareness. But more than this, let it be about you. Let your silence not be revenge, but revelation. The revelation that you were always whole, always radiant, always divine. You simply forgot, and now you remember. Don't call, don't text, don't explain. Assume the highest version of yourself and live there. And if they must feel regret, let it be the echo of a life that could have been, but was too blind to see. You've risen, now stay there. Silence is your spiritual power. It is not the absence of sound, it is the presence of alignment. When you are silent, not because you have nothing to say, but because you have nothing to prove, you step into a sacred place of dominion. You no longer seek outside yourself for confirmation of who you are. You rest in the deep knowing that your value is not determined by anyone else's inability to see it. We have been conditioned to believe that action, noise, and reaction are signs of strength. But this is an illusion. True power never screams. It doesn't chase. It doesn't beg. It doesn't need to correct, explain, or defend. Why? Because it already knows, it already is. Silence then is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the decision to withdraw from the chaotic need to be heard and instead align with the truth that does not change. When someone leaves you, betrays you, misunderstands you, your first instinct may be to call, to text, to explain your side. That is the old you reacting from fear, from lack, from a desire to be seen. But once you awaken, you realize something divine. You are never meant to convince anyone of your worth. The moment you try to prove, you admit you doubt it. But when you go silent, not out of anger, not out of pride, but out of power, you declare to the universe, I know who I am. And that is enough. In that silence, your energy recalibrates, your self-concept solidifies. And ironically, it is in that moment that others begin to feel your absence, not just physically, but spiritually. Your presence lingers because it was rooted in authenticity, in truth, in love. And now your silence becomes the mirror they cannot avoid. They see themselves more clearly because you've stepped away. You've stopped feeding the illusion, and the mask falls. But this silence is not passive, it is creative. It is where reality bends. As you go within, as you hold to your vision of self, calm, whole, radiant, you begin to shift timelines. You're no longer reacting to the world, you are shaping it. And the more you stay silent, the more you hear. You hear the whispers of your soul, reminding you that you were never the one who lacked. You were never the one who was less than. You were always the light, but they could not bear to look directly at it. There is something holy about not chasing. There is something regal about staying still when the world expects you to collapse. And it is this spiritual stillness that becomes your shield, your voice, your power. You no longer send messages into the void. You send them inward, into your imagination, and that inner world becomes the womb of your new life. So when the urge rises to explain, to reach, to make them see, pause, breathe. Remember who you are. Remember that silence is not the absence of love, but the presence of it. Love for yourself. You are not punishing them by withholding your words. You are honoring yourself by refusing to dilute your essence in places that do not recognize it. They may come back, they may remember, they may regret, but by then you will be different, elevated, whole, not because they returned, but because you did, to yourself, to the deep, unmoving place within that always knew. Your silence is not emptiness, it is fullness contained. And when you finally realize this, you won't need to say a word. Your life will speak for you. You are not the one who is abandoned. That idea is a lie the world taught you to believe, a shadow cast by ego and fear. When someone walks away from your life, what you must understand deeply at the level of the soul is this: they are not rejecting you, they are turning their back on the mirror that showed them the truth of themselves. You did not lack. You did not fall short. They simply could not face the reflection you held up to them, the reflection of what they were not ready to heal, to grow into, or to receive. Their leaving does not mean you are unworthy. It means they were unprepared to meet you in the light you are standing in. They mistook the brightness of your authenticity as discomfort rather than opportunity. When someone cannot meet your depth, they often choose to escape it, and so they go, not because you weren't enough, but because they were afraid of what being with you would require of them. Your love, your honesty, your presence. They are sacred, and not everyone is ready to encounter the divine in human form. You are whole. From the moment you were born, wholeness was your nature. Relationships do not complete you, they reveal you. And when someone leaves, it does not mean you are broken. It simply ends the chapter where your presence was misread, misused, or misunderstood. Their departure does not subtract from your being. If anything, it makes room for you to remember the truth. No one who truly sees you could ever walk away from the treasure they've found. What we call abandonment is often not about us at all. People leave because of their own limitations, wounds, and illusions. They project their fears onto you. They withdraw from the connection not because of your lack, but because of their own. This is why taking their actions personally only binds you to their energy. You begin to spiral into false stories. What did I do wrong? What if I had been better, quieter, more this or less that? But this path leads nowhere. It distracts you from the only truth that matters. You were always enough. You see, when someone walks away, they are not walking away from your essence. They are walking away from what your essence demanded of them. Growth, accountability, presence. And because they were not ready to rise to the occasion, they leave. That is not your burden to carry. That is not your story to fix. Instead of mourning their exit as a loss, begin to view it as a divine protection. You were spared from continuing to pour your love into a vessel that could not hold it. You were saved from shrinking to fit their comfort zone. You were redirected back to yourself, the one who knows how to love without losing, how to give without begging, how to stay grounded when everything around you changes. So hold your head high, not out of pride, but out of remembrance. You are not the abandoned. You are the one they could not handle. You are the one who stayed true while they faltered. And though they may one day come to understand what they walked away from, that realization belongs to them, not you. You owe no explanation for your worth. You owe no change, no closure. You owe only devotion to the self that knows. Being left does not mean being less. It simply means that what they were running from still lives within them, and you were the mirror that exposed it. Stand in that truth. Be unmoved by their exit. You are whole. You have always been, and no one can take away what was never theirs to hold. What you assume about yourself will echo in their mind long after you're gone. This is a powerful truth that often goes unnoticed in the hustle of daily life and relationships. Every thought, every assumption, and every belief you hold about yourself doesn't just shape your own reality. It reverberates in the minds of those who interact with you. It echoes in their thoughts long after they've encountered you, because whether consciously or unconsciously, your self-concept becomes the lens through which they perceive you. And this perception is not just influenced by your words or actions, but by the energy you emit, the silent messages of your inner world. How others see you is in fact a reflection of how you see yourself. If you walk through the world believing you are unworthy, weak, or undeserving, that assumption will project onto everyone around you. They will pick up on the subtle cues you send out, whether it's in your body language, your tone, or even the way you allow them to treat you. And this projection becomes the filter through which they relate to you. But when you begin to change how you see yourself, when you claim your worth and align with your own inner power, it shifts everything. The world around you can no longer see you through the same lens. The energy you bring forth, the assumption of your own value, becomes the message they receive, even if they don't fully understand why. When you hold a high self-concept, one rooted in self-love and self-respect, it commands a different type of interaction. People feel that. They can't always articulate it, but they know. There is a magnetic pull that comes from the belief that you are worthy of greatness. And even when they may not understand you, even when you are no longer in their presence, That energy lingers. It sticks in their minds, prompting questions, lingering thoughts, and sometimes even regret. How did I not see it, they may wonder. How did I let someone like that slip through my fingers? The assumption you had of yourself, your own internal truth, becomes a silent message they can't ignore. It echoes in their consciousness long after you're no longer around. But this is not a game of manipulation or strategy. This is the natural law of attraction. People are always drawn to what they perceive as power, confidence, and self-respect. It's not about being arrogant or overbearing. It's about being in alignment with your true self. When you know your worth, when you carry the assumption that you are worthy of the best life has to offer, that energy becomes contagious. You no longer need to convince anyone of anything because they will feel it without words. Your presence becomes the message, the confirmation, the proof of your own internal truth. Your self-concept is the only message that truly matters. It's the one that shapes your experiences, that guides the choices you make, and that ultimately determines how others experience you. If you see yourself as small, others will treat you as such. If you believe you are weak or unworthy of respect, that is exactly what you will receive. But if you see yourself as strong, valuable, and deserving of all the goodness life has to offer, that is what others will come to see in you as well. The external world will always reflect your inner world. This is not something you can escape. It's the way the universe operates. So, as you move through life, remember that the assumptions you hold about yourself are not just personal. They are universal. They shape your reality and leave an imprint on the minds of everyone you encounter. Your self-concept is the message they receive long after you have left the room, long after your words have faded. And when you finally come to realize this, you begin to see that the most important work is not what you say or do, it's what you believe about yourself. When you change that belief, everything else must change. Desire not their return, desire your elevation. This is the truth the world often tries to distract you from. The natural urge when someone leaves or when something falls apart is to look outward, to wish for things to go back to the way they were. But nothing of lasting value is ever found by looking behind you. What has gone has served its part. What has left has fulfilled its role. Clinging to the past is like watering a dead garden. It does not bring life. It only delays your blooming. The power lies not in begging for their return, nor in wondering if they still think of you. The true power lies in choosing your elevation. When you rise in consciousness, when you shift your inner state to a higher understanding, a deeper self-love, a firmer belief in your own worth, you no longer ask for what once was. You realize you are never waiting on them to return. You are waiting on you to rise. This is not about revenge or pride. This is about alignment. Your life is not a collection of random events. It is a mirror. It reflects you, your assumptions, your beliefs, your identity. If someone leaves you while you are in a lower state of consciousness and you later elevate to a higher state, one of confidence, worthiness, peace, and purpose, that person must either rise to meet you or fade out of your experience. Not because you forced them to go, but because the new frequency cannot hold the old pattern. You see, the people in your life are not permanent fixtures. They are reflections. Each of them is drawn to the state you are embodying. If your self-concept is one of lack, unworthiness, or dependency, then those who enter your life will echo that story. But when you shift, when you begin to see yourself as whole, loved, radiant, and complete, then those who once matched your old state will either transform or be removed. And this is why you must not desire their return. To wish for them to come back is to anchor yourself to the version of you that they left. You must instead focus all your energy on your own ascension. Who are you when you are no longer seeking approval? Who are you when you are no longer trying to be chosen? Who are you when you decide that you are already enough? That is where your power lives, in your elevation, not their validation. The truth is, Your new level cannot hold their old behavior. And that's not a punishment, it's a purification. It means you are shedding the illusions that once bound you. It means you are becoming more of who you truly are, someone who no longer tolerates inconsistency, dishonor, or emotional confusion. Someone who no longer seeks love through self-abandonment. Someone who does not wait, beg, or prove, but someone who embodies, let your rising do the speaking. Let your stillness be the answer. Let your transformation be the only closure you ever need. Those who are meant to walk with you at your new level will do so not because you call them back, but because they chose to evolve as well. And those who do not, bless them silently, for they have served their role as mirrors of your past. Do not confuse longing with love. Do not mistake loneliness for divine guidance. Your soul is calling you to move forward, not in search of a person, but in pursuit of your true self. The more you focus on your own becoming, the less you will need anyone to return to you. So rise with dignity, with faith, with quiet certainty. The higher you ascend in consciousness, the more everything around you must conform to your new state. The old must either evolve or exit. And that is not a loss. That is the law. Let absence work on your behalf. Let it speak volumes in ways your words never could. There is a mysterious force in silence, a force that moves not with noise, not with pleading, not with effort, but with stillness, with restraint, with quiet certainty. In a world where people chase, explain, and overexpress, your absence becomes a message too loud to ignore. When someone walks away or treats you with indifference, the instinct is to fill the void, to explain, to reach out, to seek clarity. But this need to react often comes from a fear that silence means loss. It doesn't. True loss comes when you abandon yourself to stay visible in someone else's life. But when you withdraw and stand still in your own power, you give your absence permission to speak. It will echo in the spaces they once shared with you, in the moments they expect you to call, in the seconds their phone remains still. It will linger in their mind, not because of manipulation, but because of contrast. Human beings remember energy. They remember the presence of someone who carried truth, sincerity, and emotional weight. And when that presence is suddenly no longer available, the absence becomes undeniable. Silence has a language of its own. It doesn't beg, but it teaches. It teaches them what your presence truly meant. It allows them to reflect, to notice, to wonder. It gives them the space to confront their own emptiness without your constant reassurance. Sometimes your silence is the mirror they need to face their own behavior. Sometimes your absence reveals more than your words ever could. But this kind of silence is not passive. It is not the silence of defeat. It is the silence of knowing who you are, knowing your value, knowing that your worth does not diminish because someone fails to recognize it. It is the silence of a soul that refuses to beg for what is already divinely deserved. The seeds planted in silence are powerful. They take root not in haste, but in time. They grow slowly, invisibly beneath the surface of their mind. Days may pass, weeks perhaps, and then, suddenly, they feel it. The realization, the shift, the weight of your absence, which once seemed unimportant, becomes too heavy to ignore. It is then that they begin to understand what your presence carried, not because you chased them, not because you reminded them, but because you chose silence, because you let your absence speak the truth. And during this time, you are not waiting, you are rising, you are growing in strength, in vision, in purpose. You are turning inward, elevating your state of consciousness and aligning with a version of yourself that no longer needs to be chosen to feel valuable. This is the power of stillness. It centers you, it protects your energy. It reminds you that what is meant for you cannot be lost, and what is not meant for you will fall away, no matter how loud your words may be. When you choose silence, you choose self-respect. When you let absence speak, you allow the universe to move on your behalf. You no longer interfere, you no longer control, you allow space to do its sacred work. So do not underestimate what your silence is doing. Do not think you are forgotten. You are being remembered, slowly, deeply, in ways you cannot see. Let that be enough. Let the absence do what your presence could not. Let it whisper in the chambers of their heart what you once screamed with your words. Because the truth is, your energy was never invisible. It was simply taken for granted. Until now. You are always the operant power. Create. Don't chase. This is the sacred truth that the world forgets and that you must remember. You were never made to beg, to chase, to cling to outcomes or people as if they held your destiny in their hands. No, you are the center of your reality, the author, the director, the one who decides what is true for you. And until you awaken to that truth, you will continue to seek outside yourself what has always lived within. Chasing is the belief that what you want is separate from you. It is the idea that you must run towards something in order to possess it. But in truth, creation is not about pursuit, it is about assumption. It is not about forcing your will on the outer world, but about surrendering to the inner knowing that you are already what you seek. You do not chase what you already are, you assume it. The only pursuit that matters is the pursuit of the self, the assumption of your own magnificence, your own power, your own divine identity. That is the foundation upon which all things rest. If you see yourself as valuable, whole, and worthy, your world cannot help but reflect that back to you. But if you see yourself as lacking, unworthy, or forgotten, you will continue to attract experiences that echo that belief. You see, you are not a passive participant in this life. You are not a victim of random events or people's decisions. You are the cause, the operant power. Whatever you assume to be true within you must express itself around you. This is not philosophy, it is law. When you understand this, you stop chasing and start creating. You stop trying to convince others of your worth and begin to embody it in silence. When you chase someone's attention, their love, their approval, what are you really doing? You are telling the universe, I am not enough unless they choose me. And the universe, ever obedient, mirrors that belief. But when you choose yourself, when you assume your worth and act as though it is already acknowledged, the outer world bends to reflect that new assumption. Creation begins with identity. Who are you when no one is looking? Who are you when you are not trying to impress or prove? That version of you, the quiet, powerful, unshaken version, is the real you. And when you operate from that place, you no longer need to chase. You attract, you allow, you command. This is not arrogance, this is alignment. It is knowing that your desires were planted in your heart not to torment you, but to guide you toward who you were always meant to be. And once you become that version within, your world must mirror it without. Let others chase. Let them explain. Let them seek validation. But you remain still. Operate from the assumption that all things are already yours by divine right. Walk in your day as though your desire is a memory, not a wish. Let your imagination claim it now. Let your inner speech align with it now. You are not here to earn love. You are love. You are not here to chase success. You are success in motion. You are not here to prove your worth. You are worth incarnate. So breathe, stand tall, assume boldly, and create from the inside out. Because the moment you stop chasing and begin creating, everything you once ran toward will begin to seek you. Not because you needed it, but because you finally remembered. You were the source all along. Now you understand. You were never meant to beg, plead, or chase after anything in this world. You were born with the power to create, not to convince. Every silence you held, every moment you chose stillness over reaction, every time you elevated instead of engaging in desperation, that was power. That was you remembering who you are. They didn't abandon you. They walked away from their reflection. Your absence didn't go unnoticed. It was felt deeper than your presence ever could be. And while they wrestled with confusion, you rose. You became more. You returned to your throne, not waiting to be chosen, but choosing yourself fully. You are not the effect. You are the cause. You are the center of your world. Let absence speak. Let silence plant seeds. Let your assumption of magnificence lead the way. Do not wait for their return. Rise in consciousness. And in that rising, everything unlike your new state will either match it or fade away. Because in the end, the truth remains. You are the operant power. And from this point on, you no longer chase, you create. Say thank you. Thank you for listening. May you never forget the strength that lives in your silence, the truth that breathes in your stillness, and the power that is always, always within you.